Welcome back to Studio 5. Do you ever feel like you're one step behind? Like every day is a scramble just to keep up with things? Studio 5 contributor Dr. Matt Townsend says that's a clue you might want to evaluate your own life rhythm. We have managed to tear him away from his phone where new pictures of baby Claire are coming in this very minute.
So cute.
Oh my gosh, she's adorable.
I'm going to keep her.
We're just going to talk about her as much as we can.
We could do that every show.
I mean, come on, she really is the cutest.
We'll just have her grow up with us.
So cute. All right, you say the key to managing and balancing this life rhythm, or discovering it rather, is to stop treating life as a competition and start treating it like a dance.
It's a dance. So think about it, and we've all got it, right? So some of our spouses, they just process slower. They don't do everything that we think that they ought to be doing or when they ought to be doing it. And some of our spouses process way too fast. So it's kind of like somebody's trying to do a fast dance, somebody wants a slow dance, and we never seem to get together. So instead of trying to compete and make it into some dance that doesn't work, let's just slow down our lives and just maybe start to go through and process my partner and my rhythm, and especially at the holidays.
Right.
Think of how the holidays, some just want to get out there and do all the shopping and get it all done, and some just want to go way slow and avoid certain things.
You just described Mark and I.
Is that it?
I'm the girl tearing down Costco with the list, checking things off as frantic as I can, and Mark's the guy just soaking it in. I love it about him. I do.
Just enjoy this. But the thing is, if you wear him out or burn him out, you'll know that because he'll throw a tantrum in the middle of Costco, just throw himself on the ground.
Seen him on aisle
No, I
4?
saw him. That was embarrassing. So it's a dance. And so we really need to start going through the process of recognizing your rhythm is different than my rhythm.
You say the first step to not only finding your rhythm, but also the first step to being emotionally intelligent is to know you.
Know yourself. Daniel Goleman wrote the book on emotional intelligence. One of his big principles is to know yourself. Do you know what time of day you work the best? Are you a morning person or a night person? Do afternoons work best for you? Because you need to know that. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? You need to know that. How do you take in information? Are you more visual? Are you more auditory? So the more you start to understand who you are, you'll start to understand your rhythm. It might simply be that I don't want to go shopping in the afternoon because I have no energy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go at Christmas because there's too many people.
Right.
So if you get a lot of resistance from your partner, it might be because they know themselves, but you may not understand what's going on with them. Don't just think they're lazy and they don't care. It might simply be they know themselves better to know that it's not going to go well if we go shopping right now.
Which speaks to their inner self-confidence, really, in the end.
They really
right?
should. And emotionally, I should know who I am. I should know what drives my emotion up, and I should know how to lower it. But if I know that, if I truly know myself, then my spouse needs to listen. Because if I know myself, and she keeps trying to talk me into going somewhere, it may not go well. And if it doesn't go well, you may not be able to blame me later.
And that's when the conflict, I imagine, pops up. You say one way to know if we are at the right place, the right pace, is to pay attention to how we breathe.
Have you ever noticed what like an Olympic athlete does right before they're performing?
A couple deep breaths.
You'll always see them breathing. They're actually working on their breathing, because the breathing, what happens is once you get a little stressed, a little anxious, and anxiety is a pretty good sign of this, your body turns into fight or flight, and cortisol spreads out into your body. And that is not designed to take big, deep breaths. When you're in fight or flight mode, you'll take shorter breaths, and your diaphragm hardens up a little bit, and it doesn't dig deep to pull your lungs down deeper. So you're not going to get a big, deep breath. And when you don't get a big, deep breath, you have to breathe more.
I love these connections between the mind, the emotional system, and the physical
And your
body.
heart has to work harder. So all of that is what feels like you're anxious. So every time before I do anything, before I start my show, before I even sitting here, when I just got a phone call and I'm like, oh my word, how am I going to handle that?
You're breathing.
Big deep breath. And the minute I do that, it actually immediately gets rid of the stress, that anxiousness, and it gives me power. So if all of a sudden I notice that the pace is going too fast for me and I'm starting to breathe too much, then that's a sign. My wife, Marty, once even said, because I would always be sighing in the morning. Like I'd be like, and she's like, why are you sighing? And I didn't know why. And I tracked it back to the fact that I'm starting to get stressed. I got to get out of the house. I got to get down to wherever. I got to get stuff going.
So if you're a partner, and let's say you operate at the slower pace, how do you respond to your partner who operates a little more high speed?
You could just get frustrated and hate them.
There's that.
Or you could just recognize that their pace is not your pace. And what I would do is I'd pay attention to the pace, right? Honor the pacing of others. If you're merging on the freeway at 40 miles an hour and everyone else on the freeway is going 60, I would honor the pace pace of the others.
Please, yes.
Or you're going to get hit, right? So you might want to pick up your pace. So how I do it is when I work with people that I know work at a faster pace than me or are more intense, I actually prepare for them. So if you have a boss that's way intense, prepare for it. Anticipate what they might know. Take your laptop into the meetings with you so you can access the data that he wants instead of stressing there. But anticipate what they tend to want. Maybe go in and talk to your boss about how you like to be paced. Find out if something's coming up that he wants to check on so you can get ahead of the game. But you might need to anticipate with the boss that's faster. With those that are slower, I would probably talk to them more. I might give them assignments ahead of time. I might let them know what's coming up. Advance notice. Get them to buy in. You know, just give them some tools. Maybe instead, a lot of husbands and wives, when we talk, one of us can overwhelm the other because they communicate so quickly. What if you just simply said, can we talk for 20 minutes and then we'll just go think about what we talked about and then let's just come back tomorrow.
So you're giving them time to process.
And then we can process. So you just play to their strength, but honor it. Don't try to get the slow one to always speed up to you necessarily. Yeah. Just maybe prepare them and maybe work with their pace by just knowing we're going to go fast, but we're only going to go fast for about 10 minutes.
Well, because fair to say, a lot of women approach life with that more is more mentality,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Faster is better. And you say that's not necessarily the way to play it.
No, in the end, you're gonna suffer, right? Because in the end, when you think about it, we have got at some point to figure out what is really going on with me, and I need to like my pace. My pace is my strength. If you overdo Matt Townsend, you're going to pay for it, and you're not going to get the same quality. Yeah. So I have to almost demand my pacing, and it's weird, but I can go 3 hours, but then I need an hour. And I know before I come on, I need quiet time. I don't need somebody constantly kind of getting on me and asking me a bunch of questions. So when I'll go do a speech, I usually just like to walk away from everybody. And it's not nerves per se, it's just my pace. I can't have someone yapping at me and then go perform at my highest for an hour and a half.
And you know that about yourself.
I know that, and I know that that's where my power comes from. My power comes from my pacing, because that's where my creativity and all my other energies come from.
Well, at the end of the day, fair to say, it takes both speeds, right, to make the dance work.
Exactly right. It is a dance. So in the end, if we start to see how we're working well together, spend a little bit of time talking about your dancing. Talk about the pace. Talk about how your husband did really well, and I noticed about 2 hours after Walmart, or into Walmart, we started having you fade. You started fading. And so if we start talking about the pace of our lives, and even talk about the differences, and actually bring it up as part of the conversation, it's amazing what you'll find out, because you'll start taking away best practices. So you, especially during this holiday season, at the end of a really good shopping night together or whatever, ask yourself, what worked? Why did it work? Well, because you allowed me to just go sit down in the mall and just sit and watch and play on my phone, and that was good for me, and what was good for you is that I tried to make it all night. So I still went with you, and you still allowed me space to just sit and be what I wanted to be.
What I'm sitting here thinking is it takes discipline to own your own pace. Like you talked about walking away from the crowds before a speech, and it also takes that patience to respect the other person's pace. I love it.
But that's part of the dance, right? So part of the dance might speed up, and it might go a long time, but we can also slow it down, and that gives us more energy. So it's this ebb and flow, this yin and yang.
You're so wise.
I'm telling you, I'm a grandpa.
I love it. Hey, you are a grandpa.
So excited.
You're announcing a really fun program through the Townsend Relationship Center. This is a coaches training program.
This is the first time I've ever done this.
Breaking news.
I am starting to train coaches. So, and I'm just training them in my method and in all of my tools. I have like 150 hours of content. So if you go to coachwithmatt.com, or you can go to matttownsend.com and find us that way. But what you do is you're going to learn. I'm going to sit you down. We're going to spend about 6 months together, and I'm going to train you to teach my classes, to teach my workshops, to use all of my content, so you can now be the friend that you think you are.
How exciting. All right,
awesome stuff.
coachwithmatt.com. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Brooklyn.